This is Cal Katz, the Cal Catster, and this is a book review of Truth of the Divine, Lindsay Ellis, Axiom and Kavanagh, and the other cast in the story. My mother went into the hospital, so I had a lot of time on my hands. So I read this here book while I was waiting outside of the ER. I read the whole thing. Now, let's see. I'll run some tests and stuff, see what's going on. Anyway, here we have Truth of the Divine. This is a sequel to Axiom's End, the third installment to Empire Strikes Back style in the Nuremberg trilogy, and so far we don't have a third one yet, or they don't. This was the hardback one. It still has the rough edges inside. This is from when Lindsay Ellis stopped posting on YouTube and got the book. But yeah, so unfortunately, the trolls chased her off, but they're not chasing my channels off. No, sir. No. We're not making any money on it, so they're not coming after us. That's why. Anyway, so here we have the sequel by the little plucky Lindsay Ellis, who reminiscent of someone from Jung Swan, but isn't. Clearly. She was the Nostalgia Chick on the Nostalgia Critic show, the Channel Awesome, back when it was the Nostalgia Critic, and left in 2014, so doesn't know anything about the other stuff. Knows about the drama afterward, but doesn't have anything to say about it, really. Anyway, so this is a sequel. The character of Cora, which sounds like Cora from the other thing, but isn't, and her sort of boyfriend, life mate, transformer, metal dragon, robot, lover. It's very quirky, pretty strange. It's not just a fanfic about a lady in love with a transformer. It's not that. It's first contact. It's politics. It's geopolitics. In an alternate universe where Bush was kicked out and Cheney had to replace him, which would probably be worse if they did that. I'll let them have another term. It parallels the Trump years, and it parallels the Obama years. Yeah, it parallels other things, because it's a different universe where that happened, where apparently it lines up with Transformers Michael Bay, in some ways, and this character is in love with a Transformer that gave her PSTD, or she had PSTD as a result of something else. Transformer tried to help it, and whatever. The Transformer's powers, because mental powers, people with mental powers are special, and they have superpowers, no, they don't have superpowers, but, that's fine. In this case, it's fiction, so we have a story that's bizarre, in some ways, and a geopolitical sort of action thriller thing in other ways. There's a character, Kavanagh, who was named after her co-author in the story, which is even more Mary Sue than Cora, and her co-author, they say that person helped out. I don't know for sure, but I think that is Todd in the Shadows. I think that's who that's supposed to be, which would be cool because you have him back doing stuff. It could be somebody else after him, but it could be him. I don't know. Anyway, then there's a we spoofed him in an episode, but we didn't meet him. We spoofed him. It was all in good fun. Anyway, so we have in the story, but here we have a dynamic. She gives a sort of a warning in the beginning, saying there's going to be political stuff. There's going to be or going to explore why anti-Semitism is bad, and anti-Muslim is bad, and all these other antis are bad. Post 9/11 kind of stuff. Early Fox is bad, but she calls it CNN. The Tea Party, stuff like that. It's all in there, and a little over 500 pages. You have You have almost 500. You have a story about the length of a distant destiny's Canary space story, but having nothing to do with that. Although the alien is surprisingly similar to the collagen life forms that can alter their shape into big tree things, robotic tree things. They could totally be like ampersand, easily. One of them gets splattered into a wall. It becomes one of the... I think what's going on is that they capture some of the aliens that come looking for Obeda, the bad guy, who's been killed, and his lover comes looking for him. His robotic lover partner comes looking for him, and names himself Enola Gay, which is funny, which is a direct reference to that, well, to spoofing a name, basically. But it also is possibly a reference to the Calicat show, which is awesome, because there was a character in Space Time Eye, which is a very similar kind of story, one of the short stories, called the Enola Gay, and she was a atomic bombshell. The joke was that she was named after this character from World War II, and her act was that, like Tank Girl, she was basically Tank Girl, she would use a nuclear bomb in her act and blow herself up. So it would be a one-act story where it would be ending with her blowing herself up. And actually, that's kind of what happens in the book. There's a character that kind of dies and takes himself out so that the government doesn't get him. Yeah, it's kind of similar. It's cool that you read Space Time Eye, Lindsay. That's awesome. Probably one of the few people that bought that story and read it. That's awesome. If you'd like to collab on something, that would be awesome too. But probably not going to happen. but yeah, her channels were quite enjoyable. Calicat show, the cast enjoyed watching shows, especially her treatise on films and stuff like that. Yeah, and the other crossover stuff out there. Yeah. So we have what chased her off of YouTube, oddly enough, was the trolls and sycophants of a werewolf fanfic lady. I'm not going to name her name, who apparently thought that she invented werewolf fiction, romance fiction, and thought to harass everybody else that claimed she didn't. Also, there were people that were upset about Raya the Last Dragon as well, for some reason. And that's kind of imprisoned in this story a little bit too. There's a little bit of that in there. They put a little bit of that in there, and because he's a dragon alien, basically. But yeah, the beef that the sycophants of this other people that were upset about Raya the Last Dragon, for instance, was different than the werewolf one. In that they're all, well, this one particular group isn't represented correctly. And they were upset that a white girl had pointed this out. Whereas I actually have relatives through in-laws of my nephew, who are married to somebody from the Philippines, right? And they thought that movie was great. They didn't care whether they got the culture a little off. They didn't mind. They were okay with that. It was cool. They didn't care one whit. So don't take that movie seriously at all. It's a representation of something. It's not as embarrassing, as egregious as Mulan the remake was, and the live action one. That was worse because they had kimonos and they had geisha paint on a Chinese lady. That's Japan. No. That's worse than, the dragon is the wrong kind of dragon. Come on. Doesn't matter. It really, and Werewolf Lady, as for Werewolf Lady, werewolf stuff has been around for hundreds of years, and she did not come up with it. So, yeah. Just like in this book, geopolitics has been around for years, and Lindsay did not come up with it. nor did she come up with a ragged ear thing. Nor did she come up with a new plot to these different robots come to Earth and they get threatened with destruction because Cora is, of course, the Mary Sue, and she's basically And there's a fun treatise that she did on YouTube. I think you can still find it on the Mary Sue. She's Mary Sue in the story. And having her co-author be the other Mary Sue in this one, the Gary Stu, is funny. And not that we haven't done that. We totally have done that a bunch of times. Yeah. I just don't recommend doing a direct Mary Sue because then you'd be disappointed if people didn't like it. Case in point, the Star Wars sequels. They hated that Rey was the Mary Sue in there. Even though they forget themselves because G1 Star Wars people, such as myself, and G1 Star Trek people, such as myself, remember that Luke Skywalker was obviously a Gary Stu for George Lucas. I mean, come on. So it's not a problem for us. We're like, hey, that's fine. So if you want your main character to have powers because she has a connection with a robot, fine. Sounds good. Also, as another Transformers fan, G1, all the way to the present, I can safely say that, Pretenders were a thing. There were Pretenders, Transformers. There was Suddenly Only Human, that episode where they were half human centoids. They've done episodes like that where they Autobot Spike, that kind of thing. Yeah, so binary bonding is not unusual to the Transformers lore. This is basically a Transformers fanfic done as a geopolitical thriller. This series so far would make an excellent Netflix series. They should consider doing it, and they should have it be probably animated because otherwise it would be hard to do it live action. And I was just thinking the whole time I was reading it, this would be a cool Netflix series. They'd have to choose what they wanted in there to make it work. But yeah, it would be awesome. They could have the whole intrigue thing. The whole government group wants to take the robot and do the ET experiment thing on it, whatever, and it doesn't work, and then the other one gets out and it doesn't work, and then somebody dies. I'm not going to give away the whole plot, but basically there's several robots running for their lives because the government wants them. So it's like E.T. meets Transformers, Michael Bay, basically. And one of them has a girlfriend or whatever. But and some of the other ones have a girlfriend, and there's like a cousin one or something. And I liked that she did a little CalCat type research as well, and that the star they're from is a star that's about 100 light years off, and the aliens, being more advanced than humans, discovered that their star is made out of the same material from the same nebula that the sun is from. So they're the cousins, so they're distant cousins, and CalCat discussed that in an early blog thing, different stars and things like that. So that's cool that's referenced there. I wasn't the only one that did that, though. So I'm not going to take I'm not going to take the credit for that. It's because Anton Pavlov's channel also discussed that star a couple of years ago. I had that, so that's where he got it. So not for me, I got it from him. It's the other way around. So I'll take credit for some of it. No, I had nothing to do with writing this book, but it certainly seems like something I would have written. I probably wouldn't have written it so long, though. Shorter. Also, it's like the X-Files meets the Transformers. There's a lot of X-Files stuff in it. I won't give away who lives, who dies, who ends up Cocoon style on another planet. I won't give that away. But it does end kind of like Cocoon. Classic movie from the 80s. A little bit. Parts of it end like Cocoon. And Cocoon 2. Yeah. More so than Star Wars. So you have and Ghost a little bit. And Ghost. And Ghost in the Shell a little bit. It's kind of got everything kind of thrown in. Transformers, Ghost in the Shell. I think that her earbud thing is what they use to communicate. And there's some kind of telepathic link, but mainly it's the earbud. And the gag is that she's like a millennial with an earbud. But in 2006, which would not make her a millennial, it would make her an ex-gen person. But that's okay. Because millennials started technically around. You have your generations. You have the baby boomers that were born from 1946 to 1966, roughly. So that's where they are, the baby boomers. Everybody after World War II. 66 to 86 is the X generation, which I'm part of the X generation. Now, Lindsay Ellis, I'm assuming, is in her 30s, so she's a little younger, so she's a millennial. And she's from 86 on, roughly. So 86 to 2006, she'd be 20. So yeah, she's a millennial. The millennial person in the story is supposed to be her in 2006, I guess. So cool. All right, sure, why not? Yeah, and now that it's 2023, pandemic and stuff like that. Yeah. There are also some similarities to All Transformers Mush, which was being produced and airing on a channel at the same time. That is a coincidence, actually, an interesting, happy coincidence. Yeah, it's a coincidence. All Transformers Mush, and also some elements of the Fallen Ones, the Strange Worlds and the Fallen Ones. There are elements of that. That's also a coincidence. So we're on the same wavelength. That's all. We had nothing to do with each other. We weren't interacting. The only interaction was I bought a book. You know, I think it was Harvard Convention once. Anyway, so. But yeah, there were comments on the comments section too, like, "Oh, let the trolls bother you." You know, stuff like that. It's like, who cares if they just block them? Block the trolls. Like I say to the other ones too. Other channel, like Jesse Dinner channel or whatever. Well, like, just block them. What can they do? They can't like take your monetization away. Yeah, it's like, no, just keep posting. But yeah, maybe she'll come back. So we have, yeah, this would make an excellent series. They should greenlight a series. They should get her permission, of course. Showrunner, she'll be the showrunner. Yeah, that'd be awesome. It needs to be a series. So they wouldn't exactly be Transformers. It would be its own thing. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Axiom Zen 2, The Truth of the Divine, not divine, the divine. There's a title drop in here though. And the truth of the divine in the story, from what I understand, is that there is a the truth is that they're cousins and they're related and they're like their species is that humanity is rare but not completely. It's not alone, and that's the truth of the divine. The universe is pervasive and out there. And things are incredibly old and different. Why would Earth be singled out as the thing, the example of? It's kind of cool. Similar to Distant Cousins and Canary Space, but no, it's just on the same wavelength. It's absolutely on the same wavelength. Ew. So yeah, that's it.